Hello students, welcome to this session. I've just solved this NEET test 81. This is 5 a.m. right now, and here I am with the physics analysis of the paper. So what I can do, this paper is not going to be easy. There are 5 questions that I've regarded tough, but some are really tough and that will going to consume your time. So if you will give time, it will appear lengthy to it, and the smart student who leaves them might find it better. But 5 are tough, 24 are medium, 16 are easy, and because of those tough questions and some very tough questions, I can say it looking like 5 are tough, but it will derail your complete paper, I can feel. So here I say anyone decent, if it gets 120, it's a good score, and anyone good should get 150 plus in this paper. It's not going to be like 170, 175 paper. It would be really challenging to get that score. If you get that score, that rest assured you are really very good in physics. If elements were with a principal quantum number greater than 4 were not allowed in nature, the number of possible elements would be. So you just remember, for any n you have number of possible elements is 2n square. So in that case, the number that would have been possible would be 2 into 1 square plus 2 into 2 square plus 2 into 3 square plus 2 into 4 square. So what do you have? This would be 2, this would be 8, this would be 18, this would be 32. So if you do this is 50, this is 58, and it would be 60. So the maximum number of possible elements in that case would be 60. Next, if 13.6 eV energy is required to ionize the hydrogen atom, then the energy required to remove an electron from n equal to 2 is, from n equal to 2 it would be 3.4 eV directly. You can directly go for it. Next, you have a system of two identical uniform disks with identical circular cavities as shown. Different relevant coordinate axes are given. The coordinates of the CM of the system will be. So you just remember, in that particular case, what we have, C2 is given, C2 dash is given, C1 is given. Okay, so in this particular case, what we remember, if you directly know the result, you can what we can go for is the coordinate of the center of mass of the system. Now for this question, let's assume we have a disk like this, and as per the data what I can make it out, its radius, let's say, be 2r, and let's say we have a cavity like this removed. So let's assume this is some x-axis and let's say this is some y-axis. From the symmetry, what I can make out, the CM of the remaining portion, this portion will be on the y-axis, and let's say it would be somewhere here. This is C, and let's say this is C dash, and the complete CM would be at this point. So let's say this distance be x, this distance is equal to r, and because this is also a cavity of radius r, let's say m is the total mass, then this cavity section, because radius is r, this mass would be m by 4. So because that complete CM is at origin here, so what I can directly make out, the remaining mass would be 3m by 4, that into x would be equal to m by 4 into r. So directly this x comes out as r by 6. That result you also remember, I think r by 6 is in the case of r, and r by 2, this is r by 3. So going by this logic, the CM of the first one would be here. So the first one CM that we can talk about would be at minus r by 3 comma 0, and for this one, this CM, you can directly make out this x coordinate would be it would be 7r minus r by 3, 7r minus r by 3. If I talk about 7r minus r by 3 would be, you can say, 20r by 3, and this would be 5r. So it would be, what you can say, 5r. And now because both are identical, we can directly say of combined CM, XCM would be the average of the two, because mass is same, 20r by 3 minus r by 3 upon 2, that would be 19r by 6. That is x coordinate, and you are left with only one choice. And YCM, if you do, it would be 0 plus what we had, 5r divided by 2, that is 5r by 2. So we can go for option B here. So just remember, for a standard R case, that r by 6 result usually people remember, so you could directly do for it. Next, ball strikes a floor at an angle 45 degree, coefficient of restitution is 0.5, the fraction of kinetic energy that is lost in collision is, okay. So it strikes at 45 degree like this, and it coefficient of restitution is 0.5. So let's say it goes something like this. So it strikes at an angle of 45 degrees. So let's assume this angle is 45, and let's say this angle is theta. So first of all, what we can say, let's say this is u and this is v. So what I can say, the x components. the x component must be the same because no impulse acts. So what we have, u sine 45, that is u by root 2 is equal to v sine theta. This is the first equation. Second, for that y component, what we will have, v cos theta would be half times u by root 2. This is the second. So if we divide it, what we will get, tan theta, we will get it, tan theta would be equals to 2 in this particular case. We'll say that tan theta's value would be equals to 2. So tan theta is equal to 2. So from that, what we can make out, sine theta would be equals to 2 by root 5. So from the first equation, that we can set v would be equal to u upon root 10. So velocity becomes 1 by root 10. So if velocity becomes 1 by root 10, or okay, it is 2, sorry, I just forgot it. This is 2 by root 5, and so it is not right. So it is 2 by root 5, so it would be u by root 2 upon sine theta, that is root 5 by 2. So it becomes u by root of 5 by 2. So velocity becomes root of 5 by 2 times, that means the kinetic energy proportional to that will become basically what we can say, actually done a mistake here, it is not 2, it is 2 root 2, so that is 8. So velocity becomes root of 5 by 8, so kinetic energy will become u square proportional, that would be 5 by 8, so go for option A. So be careful, don't do a mistake like that. So what we have, the fraction of kinetic energy, it is remaining, okay, it's a lost, again we are doing a mistake. The remaining is 5 by 8, so lost would be 3 by 8 for sure. Next, a circular tube of radius r, cross-sectional radius r is okay, and cross-sectional radius r, circular tube of radius r and cross-sectional radius r is filled completely with iron balls of the radius rho. Iron balls are just fitting into the tubes. The tension in the tube when it is rotated about its axis normal to its plane with angular velocity omega is okay. So what we have, a tube and a cross-sectional radius small r is filled completely with iron balls of the radius rho. Okay, first of all, this should be the density, not the radius. Okay, so now this is the tube, and in it we have fitted those balls of a small r like this. So it's clear the ball's radius would also be small r. So the volume of each ball would be 4 by 3 pi r cube, and each mass would be rho into 4 by 3 pi r cube. That is the mass of the each ball. Okay, so that would be the mass of the each ball that will be filling in here like this. And if we take this, if a ball is fitted like this length they will cover is 2r. So this length they will cover is 2r thing. So that per unit length mass would be divided by 2r, so that would be lambda. So lambda, you can do it like this. So this comes out lambda as 2 by 3 pi r square rho. This is the first thing you should remember. Now tension in the tube, tension would be, what we can write about the tension here. The standard way of calculating tension in this cases is, you know, take a small section subtending angle delta theta. This would be t, and if you take this midline, these angles you know is delta theta by 2 here. So what we have, 2t sine of delta theta by 2 acts towards center, that would be equal to m you write it as lambda into what you have, r delta theta into omega square r, that is what you write. So because angle is small, I can write sine theta as theta, so that is delta theta by 2 lambda r delta theta omega square 2 eta r square delta theta goes, t is lambda omega square r square. So tension here would be again lambda is 2 by 3 pi r square rho into omega square r square. So go for option D. This is the pick of the question, it's not that easy. Now question 6, the position vector of particle in xy plane is given by r is this. So just looking by observation, what I can make out, I can say it's r minus a I cap would be equals to, what we can make out, it is minus a cos omega t I cap plus a sin omega t j cap. That is what we can make it out. So directly if you do by analysis, it would be a circle directly with a center at a I cap, that is center at a comma 0. And if you do, just see this x coordinates maximum value will be 2a and minimum value would be 0. So 0 to 2a and it is a, so it will go like this. So if you check it, it is going to be a circle of radius a with center at a comma 0. So go for option A. Next, the density of copper is 9 into 10 to the power 3 kg per meter cube, and its atomic mass is this. Each copper atoms provide one free electron. Estimate the number of free electrons per cubic meter. So number of free electrons per cubic meter would be number of atoms per unit volume into 1. This is number of atoms. And what is number of atoms? You can say that is number of moles per unit volume into Avogadro number into 1, and number of moles you can say is molar mass into moles, or what you can say is molar mass into molar mass upon molar mass, sorry. So moles in any will be same, mass upon molar mass upon volume. So mass upon volume is density into Na into 1, that is rho upon m into Na. M or m naught, whatever you write it as a molar mass. So density is 9 in 10 to the power 3. This molar mass is 63.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 gram kg per mole converted into SI unit, and as this Avogadro number you know is approximately 6 into 10 to the power 23. So if you do this, it's approximately comes out as 10 to the power 3, 10 to the power 6, 10 to the power 26, and if you do 9654 by 63 way, so it would be 10 to the power 25 approximately if you go for it. So it is approximately 10 to the power 25, or it would be more, let me check, 26, 29, sorry, 28. It should be 10 to the power 28 if you calculate it. It would be approximately of the order of 10 to the power 28, 29. It should exactly must be the order, but as per the option, it would be 10 to the power 28. Next, in the network shown in the figure, every resistance is 1 ohm. The effective resistance between A and B is okay. So what you have, the resistance between A and B in this particular case is going to be. So what you will do, again, look at this input output symmetry. If I current goes here, I1 goes here, I2 goes here, logically I2 will come here, I1 will come here, and it would be I. So what it means, at this junction O, no exchange takes place. So lift it up. So when you lift it up, it would be in series, that is 2 and 1 will be in parallel, that is 2 by 3, and this 1 will be in parallel. So 2 plus 2 by 3, that is 8 by 3 ohms. These will be in series, that is 2 ohms. So R equivalent is parallel of this, that is 2 into 8 by 3 upon 2 plus 8 by 3, that is 16, and you have this is 6 plus 8, 14. So it comes out as 8 by 7 ohms. So go for it. It would be 8 by 7 ohms. So just symmetry based circuit. Next, the following figure shows a conducting disc rotating about its axis in a perpendicular field P. Resistor of resistance R is connected between center and the rim. The current in the resistor is. So just what you take, any small rods like this, all will be in parallel. So EMF you know is equal to B omega R square by 2. That is the standard result you must remember now. 0.4 into 10 into R square by 2. This R, small r I should write. Radius is what we have. So the radius is 5 centimeters. So it would be 5.05. That is 5 into 10 to the power minus 2 whole square, that divided by 2. So the current would be this 0.40 into 10, this comes out as 25 into 10 to the power minus 4 upon 2, and this resistance, this E by R, I would be E by R, that divided by resistance, which is 10 ohms, that is being given to you. So solving it, what will have, 0.4 into 10, that is 4 into 25 into 10 to the power minus 5, I can write from here, upon 2. So this is 25 into 2, 50 into 10 to the power minus 5. So what we have now, this I can write it as 0.50 milliampere. I should write it, they have given 0.5 ampere, it should be milliampere. As per me, it should be milliampere, but let's say going by the options, I'll go for 0.5, it should be 0.5 milliampere, okay, or there would be some error in the question. Next, in a step-up transformer, the ratio of turns of primary to secondary is 1:10, primary is 230. If the load current is 2, then the current in the primary is. So you are assuming that what we will have, it would be a perfectly ideal transformer. So it is 1:10. So that means the voltage ratio would be 1:10. So the current ratio would be inverse 10:1. So load current is 2 amperes. So this is 2 ampere. This would be 10 times, that is 20 amperes. So go for option A. Next. Two concentric spherical conducting shell of radius r, 2r carries q and 2q respectively. Change in electrical potential energy outer shell when both are connected by a conducting wire. Okay. So this is the initial case, q and r, and this is 2q and what we have, 2r. So initially the potential of the outer one, you write it as, due to the inner one would be kq by 2r, and due to the itself is 2kq by 2r. So this simply comes out as 3kq by 2r. Now on connecting it to the wire, you all know the complete charge will get transferred, it will get 3q, this will become 0. So final potential of the outer one will become simply 3kq by what you will have, the complete radius, that is equals to 2r. So V outer will become 3kq by 2r. So what is the change? The change is going to be 0 here. The change here is going to be 0 in this particular case. So this is going to be 0. Next. 64 identical spheres of Q and capacitance C are combined to form a larger sphere. The charge and capacitance is. So again you remember C is proportional to R, so the new R would be n to the power 1 by 3 times R, that is 64 is, that means 4R. So the radius becomes 4 times, so capacitance will become 4 times, so it will become 4C. So these two options, and 64 are combined, so the charges will directly be added up, that would be 64Q. So 64Q and 4C. Next. A non-uniform rod of length L having mass density is placed on x-axis with ends at this. The force it would exert on a point mass M kept at the origin is okay. So this is, you have the rod, and this is, you have the particle at origin. This is a comma 0 and this is a plus L comma 0. So what will go for any distance x, and let's have it as dx. So this mass dm of this dx would be equals to lambda dx, that is a plus bx square into dx. So due to this, the force, small force df acting towards the rod would be equal to gm dm. Dm means a plus bx square dx divided by distance, that is x square, and for complete you have to do the integration. So if you do this, this gm comes out, this is a by x square plus b dx, and limit will go from a to a plus L. So a by x square is minus 1 by x, so gm you can say minus a by x, from a by x to a plus L, plus b x also from this a to a plus L, whatever you can write. So what it comes out as, gm it comes out as minus 1 upon a plus L, plus will become a by a plus b times, this would be a plus L minus a, that is L. So what it does, so we are left with gm, this is a will take as common, it will become L upon a into a plus L like this, and this would be BL. So going by the options, it is coming out as option C in this particular case. Next. The weight of a body on the surface of the earth is 12.6 when it raised to a height half the radius of the earth. So at half the radius of the earth, G will become G naught into R upon R plus H ka whole square, that is R by 2 whole square. So basically if you solve it, it comes out as 4 by 9 of G naught, so it will become 4 by 9 of that. So 4 by 9 into 12.6. So if you go by this, this is 1 point, what you have, this would be 36, so it would be 1.4 into 4, that is 4 into 1.4 is 5.6 Newton. Next, 15th one. Solar radiation emitted by the sun corresponds to the temperature of 6000. Maximum intensity is at 4800 angstrom. If the sun was to cool down, temperature will become half, the peak wavelength will get doubled because lambda mt is constant. So it would be 9600 angstrom. It's a directly pick and choose. Next. VD graph of a given mass of an ideal gas is shown in the figure, then the corresponding PV graph will be. So what would be the PV graph in this case? So here you can say straight line through origin, so A to B is pressure constant. So A to B pressure constant, so this is rejected and this is okay, this is okay. Next, B to C temperature constant, so it would be a hyperbola. So hyperbola is A is right, this is wrong, this is also wrong, so you are left with only one choice. Go for option A from these two processes. Next. The gas inside a spherical bubble expands uniformly slowly that the radius increases from R to 2R. Atmospheric pressure is P0, surface tension is S. The work done by the gas in the processes. So work done by the gas in the process would be, okay, so what we have work done here, the pressure inside at any point is P0 plus 4S by R, and if you slightly change it, the change in volume dV would be 4 pi R square dr. So simply you are doing PdV, and the P is changing slowly, radius is changing from R to 2R. So what you are left with, 4 pi P0 into R square, integration will give us R cube by 3. Okay, let me write it carefully. It would be like 4 pi P0 R cube by 3 plus it would be 4S R, that is 4S R square by 2 from R to 2R. So it would be 4 pi p naught by 3. If you do the difference of r cube, it would be 7r cube, and it would be 2s, and the difference of squares would be 3r square. So it is 7428 by 3. What we have is 28 by 3 pi r cube p naught, plus this would be what we have. This is 4 and this is r square by 2. Okay, 4 and 4 16. Okay, I was wrong. So 16. So it is 8. So 8 3s are 24 s r square into pi. Also pi was there, or I missed it. Yes, it was pi also. So this is r square into pi. So going by this, go for option A in this case. Next, you have a cyclotron, frequency of electron moving in a magnetic field of 1 Tesla is. So frequency, you all know, time period is 2 pi m by 2b. So this is qb by 2 pi m. So q of electron 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19, b is 1, 2 into 3.14 into mass is what you have, 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31. So it goes 10 to the power 12 into 1.6 upon 2 into 3.14 into 9.1. So it would be, let's say, roughly 1 by 2, 1 by 4, 1 by 36 into 10 to the power 12. So it would be, let's say, roughly 3 into 10 to the power 10. So 3 into 10 to the power 10, or you can say 30 gigahertz or 28 gigahertz is the closest one you can go for. It would be closer to 28 gigahertz. Next, you have two identical wires, conducting wires AOB, COBD, placed at right angle to each other. The wire AOB carries an electric current I1, COD carries an current I2. It would be like this, I1, I2. The magnetic field on a point lying at a distance of, okay, distance is not given, of, distance of, so it is off. What is off? I don't know. So it is at a distance of from O in the direction perpendicular to the plane of the wire AOB and CO2. Let's say it would be coming somewhere like this. Let's say, and let's say from the options I can make out that distance would be D. So what would be the magnetic field? So first of all, for this one, if it is D here, if I can make it out, let's say it is above coming towards you, then the field due to I1 would be in this direction and due to I2 would be in this direction. So both would be perpendicular for sure. So B would be under root of B1 square plus B2 square. And B1 you can write it as mu naught I1, distance is D, that is 2 pi D. B2 is mu naught I2 by 2 pi D. So directly if you do mu naught upon 2 pi D comes common, it would be root of I1 square plus I2 square. So you can directly go for which option? You can go for option B. Okay, so just see for the directions here. Next, your bar magnet of moment this, placed in field this, the torque acting as you know, torque, direct expression, torque is M cross B. So just do this, what you have, you can do that matrix method, you can do directly also, whatever you wish. 1 1 0, this is 3 4 4. So what we have, I cap, it would be 4 times because rest is 0, minus j cap would be again 4, plus k cap would be 4 minus 3, that is 1, that is 4 I cap minus 4 j cap plus k cap, whatever be the unit. So go for option A. Next, a graph between the square of the speed of a particle moving along a straight line at distance s is shown in the figure. The acceleration. So acceleration, from the data it is given that acceleration would be constant. So what I can write using the equation 2as is equal to v square minus u square. If I do this, so v square minus u square, that is 900 minus 3600, it is in kilometer per hour square. So let it be in it only, that is a into s, that is 0.6. So acceleration is minus 2700 upon 1.2. So it is minus 2700 upon 1.2. So it would be only one option, which would be minus 2250 kilometer per hour square. Go for it. Next, the kinetic energy of the projectile at the highest point is half of the initial kinetic energy. The angle of projection is. So at highest point you say kinetic energy is half m u square cos square theta, because only ux remains, that is equal to half of initial one, that is half m u square by 2. So it means cos square theta is equal to 1 by 2. So cos theta is 1 by root 2, that means theta is 45 degree. So it's a straightforward question. Go for option B here. Next, body starts from rest, moves with constant acceleration for t second. It travels a distance x1 in the first half, x2 in the next half. Because it is starting from rest in equal time interval, you know the ratio is 1:3:5. So x2 is thrice of x1. You can directly go. Otherwise what you will do, you will write x1 would be equal to half a into half time, that is t by 2 square, and in complete time it would be x1 plus further x2, that is half a into t square. So if you take the ratio x1 upon x1 plus x2, this comes out as 1 by 4, and here also you get x2 equal to 3x1. You directly remember these results. Next, two blocks M and M connected by a massless thread which passes over a fixed massless pulley. Okay, table is smooth, force exerted by the pulley on the table is. So first of all, if you draw the FBD, this would be the tension and this would be the tension. So T and T, the resultant would be root 2 T here. So that support force would be like this, that would be equal to root 2 T. So first find the tension. So for finding tension, let's me assume this is mg, this is T. Let's say it goes with acceleration a here. This goes with acceleration a here. So what you will write? mg minus T is ma, and that T would be equal to capital Ma. So it basically gives mg upon m plus m is equal to a. So tension comes out as capital Ma, that is capital mmg upon m plus m. So the required force from support is root 2 times mmg upon m plus m. So going by the option, it comes out as option A. So go for option A in this particular case. Next, what is the disintegration constant of a radioactive element if the number of atoms diminishes by 18% in 24 hours? Okay, so it diminishes by 18%. So it diminishes by 18%, that means 82% remains. So what I can write, n is n naught e to the power minus lambda t. So this is 0.82 would be equals to e to the power minus lambda into 24 hours. So what we can go for, 82 you know is equal to 82 by 100 is e to the power minus 24 lambda. So e to the power 24 lambda would be 50 by 41 like this. So 24 lambda is ln of what the value is given, that is equal to 0.198. So now you are left with the lambda, that is 0.198, that is in per second. So convert 24 hour into 3600. So what we are left with, if I can calculate the value of this, this is 24 table. If I make out, is it coming in it? No, it doesn't coming in it. So what we can do, let's say it would be 198 upon 24 into 36, and it would be 10 to the power minus 5. That is what we are getting. So going by this option, it is not going to be less than 10 to the power minus 5. So it would be 10 to the power minus 6 only. So by the order, I can go for D. And if you wish, you can solve also. Let me solve for you. This is 99, this is 12. So 99, 36, so it is 3, 33, it is 12. So 33 upon what we have, 12, 12. So it is 11, this is 4. So it's basically coming out as 11 by 48 into 10 to the power minus 5. So it would be 2.2 into 10 to the power minus 6. So this option is exactly not right. It should be 2.2 here. So available options, I'll go for only this, but this is not right. It should be 2.2 into 10 to the power minus 6. Next, if a star can convert all the helium nuclei completely into oxygen nuclei, the energy released per oxygen nuclei is. So what we have, you will have 4 helium nuclei like this, converting into 1608. So the initial mass is 4 into 4.0026 and final is 15.994. So loss in mass is 4 6 are, you have 24 to 10 0 16 minus 15 point, what you have, 994. Okay, 994. So this is 0, 10 and 9 1, 10 and 9 1, 10 and 9 again, it would be 1 and it would be 0.110. So that energy would be that binding energy, or the energy that would be released. In this case, Q value I should write. So the Q value here would be 0.1110 into 931.5 MeV. So it basically comes out as, this is 931.5 into 0.11, it would be 93 or 100. So sort of a thing that I can go for. It should be 0, sorry. This is 0, I'm doing the mistake. So it would be related to not 100, it would be 10 point something here when power is come. So 10.24 EV would, mega EV is the answer. So be careful in the calculation. Next, point mass M is suspended at the end of a massless wire of length L and cross-sectional area A. If Y is Young's modulus in the frequency of oscillation, you know this wire acts as a spring whose constant K is AY by L and the time period is 2 pi root M by K, that is ML upon AY. So it is a standard result, you must remember this. So go for option B in this particular case. So this is the time period, sorry, again they asked for frequency, so be careful, such mistake should not be done. Frequency would be 1 upon 2 pi root of AY by ML. So just remember it is A, not B. So this mistake should not be made. Next, tunnel is dug along the diameter of the earth. Our mass m is dropped into it. How much time does it take to cross the earth? We directly know it undergoes SHM with time period 82.6 meters. So if you draw this tunnel from here to here, minus A to A, it would be T by 2. That would be 42.3 minutes approximately. So this is a standard result. You can go for it. We know whenever you dug a tunnel, it will execute SHM about this point, and SHM time period you know is equal to 2 pi under root r by g, which comes out as 84.6 minutes. So you must have done this. This is a standard result. Go for it. Not standard, but you remember this. UV light by wavelength 200 nanometer is incident on a polished surface of iron. The work function of the surface is 4.7 eV. What would be the stopping potential? Okay. So energy of the photon is hc by lambda 1240 by 200. That nanometer, EV nanometer. So it would be EV. It comes out as 6.2 EV. Next. So this is 6.2 EV. Now this energy is 6.2, and what we have work function. So what would be the Kmax? Kmax comes out as 6.2 minus 4.71. This is 91174, and it would be 1.49 or 1.5 EV. So the stopping potential would be 1.5 volt. You can directly go for. Next, the work function of a metal is in the range of 2 to 5. Find out which of the following wavelength cannot be used for the photoelectric effect. So it is from 2 to 5. So you need energy greater than 5. So which of the following cannot be used? So 510 nanometer, 650 nanometer, 400 and 570 nanometer. So it is from 2 to 5. So 5 is nothing. So you just check for 2. This energy is greater than 2. This is greater than 2. This is greater than 2. 1240. It is less than 2. So this cannot be able to do. So go for option B. Next. Capillary is dipped in water up to a depth L, and the water rises to a height h less than L in the capillary. The lower end of the tube is closed now, and the tube is taken out of water. Then the lower of the end is tube. Now the length of the liquid column in the tube will be, wait a minute, dipped in water, water rises to a height h. Lower end closed now, and the tube is taken out of water. When the lower end of the tube is opened now, the length of the liquid column in the tube will be, okay. Now it is taken out. So first of all, it rises to h. So that pressure difference that we talk about would be, now when it was in water, the surface would be like this, and those surface tension forces can pull up this length h. Now when you have opened it and taken it out, now we can say the surfaces will be like this. So you have two meniscus here, so the effect will get doubled up. So the length previously which was h above now would be 2h above. So go for option D. So because of that doubling of the effect, the height will be doubled in this case. So it's a nicely asked question. So just remember this. Next, the bulk modulus of water is this: the change in pressure required to increase the density by 0.1%. So what do you know? Bulk modulus, you directly write it as bulk modulus definition you have as minus V dP by dV. That is what you generally write. Now the change in pressure required to increase the density by 0.1%. So if you increase the density, the volume will shrink by 0.1%. So the value of the pressure required, you have to just check the magnitude. That would be equal to dV by V into B. That is 0.1 upon 100 into 2 into 10 to the power 9. So it would be 2 into 10 to the power 6 Newton per meter square. Go for option C here. Next. Distance between the object and its real image from the convex lens is 60, and the height of the image is 2 times the height of the object. Okay. So height of image is 2 times the height of the object. So what I can directly make it out, real object, real image. So if the object is the distance x, I can directly say that would be 2x because it is height double. So V will be twice of U in magnitude. Now, this distance is 60, so this is 20 centimeter and this is 40 centimeter. Anyone can tell. So what would be the focal length? So 1 upon V, 1 upon 40 minus 1 upon minus 20 is equal to 1 upon F. So 1 upon F is what you have, 20 plus, this is LCM is 40, this is 3. So if this comes out as 40 by 3 centimeter, go for option C here. So you can directly make it out now. Next. Light beam traveling from a region 2 to 3, the refractive index in the region 1 to 3 are given like this. The angle of incidence theta for the beam just misses entering region 3 is. So I can directly go for 1 and 3. So what I can say, the angle of incidence theta, so that is n naught sine theta would be equal to just misses, that would be equal to n naught by 2. In that case, let's say it would be sine 90. So what we have, Sine theta is equal to 1 by 2. So theta comes out as 30 degree. This middle region doesn't matters. What we can directly go for 1 and 3. So go for option A. Next. Just remember for this, you remember when we have parallel slabs, we have n sine theta remains constant. So n1 sine theta 1, n2 sine theta 2, n3 sine theta 3. So you no need to involve n2 here. Next. Two spheres, same mass, thin spherical shell, other a solid, have the same moment of inertia about their diameter, the ratio of the radiuses. Okay. So I of hollow is equal to I of solid. Hollow one, what we write it as 2 by 3 m hollow, mass is same, sorry. So radius of hollow is square, that is 2 by 5 m into radius of solid square. So the ratio of the radii would be, so RH square upon RS square is 3:5. So the ratio of the radii would be root 3:5. So go for option C here. Next. A rod is held at an angle of 45 degree to the horizontal and released from rest. The minimum coefficient of friction between plane and the rod required so that the rod doesn't slip on the plane upon release. So rod should not slip. So if the rod has not to be slipped here, it is the minimum coefficient, rod doesn't slip on the plane upon release. So it should not slip. That means this end remains constant and it goes like this. So what we will have, just check it if we are going to solve. In this case, this normal and friction acts here, so only the mg torque acts. So what we have, the torque of mg would be mg into, if I take this would be L by 2 and it would be cos theta. If what would be theta, that would be equal to the mi, that is ml square by 3 into alpha. So alpha value comes out as 3g cos theta by 2l. So as the theta is going to increase, as the theta is going to decrease, sorry, as theta decreases, alpha will increase, so that AT will also increase. So now if we do go for the, what we can write, the acceleration of the CM in this particular case would be, in any case, would be equal to alpha into distance L by 2. That would be equal to 3g cos theta upon 2L into L by 2. So it is 3g cos theta by 4. And this is what we say the tangential acceleration of the CM. This is ACM tangential. So what we can do now, this acceleration would be like this. In this direction, this would be AT. So if I take the component of the mg, we know this would be the normal, and because of this mg component, this friction will act here. This would be F. Okay. So this is N and this is F. So first of all, along this tangential direction, if I have to solve this, what we can say, this forces coming along this particular direction. Along this particular direction, if I talk about this particular direction, if we say, what we can directly go for this component AT. We do its two component, one would be, let's say, along x-axis and one would, let's say, along y-axis. Let me break it like this. So because let's say this angle is theta, so what we can do, this angle is also theta, so this angle would be 90 minus theta, so this is theta. So what we can say, AY would be equal to AT cos theta and AX would be equal to AT sine of theta. So now do the forces along the x. Along the x we have only force friction, so friction must be equals to m AT, say this A tangential sine theta, that is 3g cos theta sine theta by 4. First of all, yes. Now along y, what we have, mg minus n must be equal to m AT cos theta, that comes out as 3g cos square theta by 4. So this is the equation that we will get. So in the limiting case, what we can have, just put the value of n from here. F I can write as mu n. So just we can say less than equal to mu n. So the mu value comes out as m greater than equal to m 3g sine theta cos theta by 4 divided by n. N is what you have. N, if you solve it, would be m. It would be g common. It would be 1 minus 3 cos square theta by 4. So what you will have, m g goes. This 4 will also goes. This would be 3 sine theta cos theta upon you. What you will be left with, 4 minus 3 cos square theta. And if I write cos square theta as 1 minus sine square theta, it will become 3 sine theta cos theta upon 1 plus 3 sine square theta. So this is the value that we are getting. So putting this value of 45 degree here, because you know as it is going to decrease, the requirement of mu here because of sine square theta will keep on increasing. So in the limiting case, we put it 3 into 1 by root 2 into 1 by root 2 upon 1 plus 3 by 2, because sine square theta at 45. So it would be 3 by 2, this would be 5 by 2. So the value comes out as 3 by 5. So the value that will be needed is 3 by 5 in this particular case, so the value would be 3 by 5. So go for option A. Again, this is, I can say, brutal for students of NEET. Next, the electrical conductivity of a semiconductor increases when the radiation lesser than this falls. That means band gap corresponds to this, so that band gap is C by lambda, that is equal to 1240 upon 2480, that is half a EV. Half a EV means 0.5 EV. That's an easy one for you. Next, the logic gate represented by the combination is, again what I say, I go by truth table. 0 0 1 1 1 1 will give OR 1, this will be 0, so 0 0 is 0. Now 0 and 1, it would be 1 and 0, OR will still give 1, so 0 1 will 0, 1 1 will also give 1, 0 will also give 0. Now for 1 1 1 1, it would be 0 0, OR will give 0, so that would be 1. So simply you can make it out, this is what, this is AND gate. So go for option C, it would be AND gate. Next, a mono gas suddenly compressed to 1/8 of its volume adiabatically, the pressure of gas will change to, you have done many times, I remember this 32 times, just do PV to the power gamma is constant, no point in doing it again. This question has come before also. Now, pressure P, velocity V, time T are taken as fundamental physical quantity, the dimensional formula of forces. So just see, here I can say you can try by hit and trial or the basic method. I am not doing basic method, I am doing the hit and trial. It is ml T minus 2, sorry, ml2 is for the energy, so it is ml T minus 2. Pressure, you know, it is m, if this is force divided by area, that is ml minus 1 T minus 2. Velocity, you know, is lt minus 1, time, you know, is time. So to get that m, we need that p power 1 v0 type thing should be happening, so there is no option, but first check for 1 2 2, 1 2 2 will come. Okay, let me check. If it is 1 2 2, m will be satisfied, and L is minus 1, this would be plus 2, so it would be plus 1 satisfied. T2, that is minus 4, that would be minus 2, that would be minus 4, and that would be plus 2, so minus 2 it will come. This is mlt minus 2, sorry, I am doing it wrong. So this is also satisfied here. So the all things are satisfied in option A, so it's our luck, so it is PV2 T2 is coming out as correct. So you can directly go for this particular case in this particular question. Okay, just do it, this would be the same one. Next, the interference pattern is observed at P due to superposition of two rays coming out from sources as shown in figure. The value of L for which maxima is obtained at B. So first of all, it will travel a distance. If I will calculate, this angle is, so this angle is 30, so if I draw this perpendicular like this angle will be 60, this angle will be 60. Okay, so first of all, this length is L, let's call this L dash. So what we have this sine 60 degree is equal to L upon L dash, so that L dash comes out as 2L by root 3. So this total length L dash plus L dash is 2L dash, so part difference would be 2L dash minus 2L, so 2L dash would be 4L by root 3 minus 2L. So what we have, 2L common, it comes out as 2 by root 3 minus 1. Okay, now because of this reflection, the phase change of pi occurs. So for maxima, delta x must be 2n minus 1 lambda by 2 here because of this pi phase change due to reflection. So what do you have, 2L, 2 by root 3 minus 1 is 2n minus 1 lambda by 2. So what we are left with, so L should be root 3 times 2n minus 1 lambda by what we have 4, and it would be 2 minus root 3. So going by this, if you have any option, like this, no, this is not right, and it's not appearing to be right. Let me check. I need to, let's say, rationalize it if I need. So 2 minus root 3 I am coming, this is coming, so this is what this is option C I am seeing is perfect one that I am got. Next, the intensity of the light coming from one of the slit of IDSC is double of the other. Find the ratio of maxima to minima. So what you will have, I max would be, let's say, one is root I naught, the other would be double, root 2 I naught whole square. I min, you know, is difference, that would be root I naught minus root 2 I naught, or root 2 I naught minus I naught, whatever you can write it. It would be like this. So what would be the ratio of max to min? So the ratio of the max to min, here what we have, it is root 3. So it is what we can, so say root I1 plus root I2, it would be, solve it, it would be 1 plus 2 plus what we can say 2 root 2. And what we have here, it would be 1 plus 2 minus 2 root 2. So it is 3 plus 2 root 2 upon 3 minus 2 root 2. So rationalize it. 3 plus 2 root 2 upon 3 minus 2 root 2. Sorry, 3 plus 2 root 2. So this is 9 minus 8, that is 1. And what you get? 3 plus 2 root 2 whole square. So you have 9 plus 8 plus 4 and 3, 12 root 2. This is the answer. So this is 17 plus 12 into 1.4. So what you can say? 17, 14 2s are 28, 14 1s are 14 and 2 16. So 17 plus 16.8, it is approximately 34 I can go for. So it's not exact 34, but it is approximately 34 you can go for this particular case. Next, the cylindrical tube open at both ends has a fundamental frequency of 290 Hz in the air. Okay, let me check. Okay, that was right. Yeah, has a fundamental frequency of 390 Hz. If 1/4 of the tube is immersed in water, the fundamental frequency is 1/4 is immersed in water. So air column length will become 3/4 and it becomes closed one. So what we have, fundamental frequency initially was open at both ends, that was V by 2L0, that was equal to 390. Now the new frequency would be V by 4 nu L would be 3L0 by 4 because 1/4 length has been in water. So that would be, you can say 4V upon, or 4K you can cancel out, it would be V by 3L0. So what I can write here, V by 3L0, so V by L0 I can write as 390 into 2 upon 3. So it is 130 into 2, 260. So 260 Hz, go for option A in this particular case. Next, find beat frequency of if the motion of the two particle is given by, okay, so just look at it. This is omega by 2 pi I do, this is 310, it should be pi I think, but okay, whatever. So this F1 would be 310 upon 2 pi, the F2 would be 316 upon 2 pi, so beat frequency is difference, that is 316 minus 310 upon 2 pi, that is 6 upon 2 pi, that is 3 upon pi. Okay, so we have the answer in pi, so 3 by pi. Go for option B. Now the last one, block of mass m is kept on a platform starts moving upwards with g by 2, find the work done by the normal force on the block in the first second. So it is moving upwards with an acceleration g by 2, so the normal would be equal to 3 mg by 2, you will write n minus mg is ma, that is 3 mg by 2, and in 1 second the displacement it will cover is half g by 2 into 1 square, that is g by 4. So work done would be n into s, that is 3 mg by 2 into g by 4. So what it comes out at as, this is 3 mg square by 8. So go for option C. Again a nice question this. So overall this paper was actually a challenging one. Let me see, I'll do the analysis in the start that you can refer to, you must have seen it because that I put in the starting of